Joe Hopkins here, and today, well, I promised it, and here it is, a full review on my new Diamond. I think this model's called the Barchetta. It's the LT series. I got this for $125. That's right. Apparently, World Music Supply, and I talked about this when I did the unboxing. They bought this company, right? I'm dropping stuff, good Lord. Anyway, they bought Diamond Guitars, or DBZ, or whatever it was called. And, you know, they had a whole bunch of B-stock stuff. I looked through the listings. They had them listed for $125 or $150 a piece for these. A bunch of different colors, right? I don't think they have that many of them left. So I'll put a link down below here to where you can find these. If they still have them, go take a look. I'm not guaranteeing they do, but I wanted to see how good they were. They had them cheap, right? I went to Diamond Guitar's website. This is a $380 guitar. That's what it lists as. So why were they selling them so cheap? Well, they said they had a shipping container full of B-stock stuff. You know what I mean? They were selling them cheap because they might have problems with them. Nothing serious, nothing that makes them unplayable, but they said a lot of them had blemishes, or they need a setup, or a little bit of fret sprout, or just different things, and they didn't feel like going through this big stock of guitars, fixing all the problems one by one, or taking pictures of whatever's wrong with them one by one and listing them separately. So they just listed them all, right? You get them they said 60 to 80% off, all right? $125 for a $380 guitar. That's about, what, 75, 80% off? That's pretty damn good deal. So I went for it. I'm like, okay. They said it's nothing unplayable. And when I unboxed it, I talked about the few things that seemed a little bit like it could use when I got it. And those problems aren't even that big a deal. This thing really doesn't have anything wrong with it. I'm sure some of them do. But when I took it out of the box, I kind of said some of the frets, you know, you run your hand on it. It's like, I could use a little bit of filing. But then I got to playing it. I don't feel it. I know some people, they get all worked up on, you know, the fret work, and you shouldn't be able to feel it. And it's only like one or two little frets that feel like, they could have used a file at the end. But then when I play it, I don't feel it. I don't notice it. So I'm not going to worry about it. I kind of thought I might need to do a little bit of a setup on it. And it seems like the action could be lowered a little bit. But overall, after playing it, I don't really notice that much either. This thing is solid, man. It's really good. Good tuners, good frets. When I ran my fret rocker along them, there was like, I think 3 or 4 frets that were just a hair high, just a little bit. But once again, when you play it, you don't really notice. That might affect if I really try to lower the action a whole bunch. I tend not to lower it to like that, you know, barely above the frets, shred level stuff. That's not really me. I'm not a shred guitarist, so I don't worry that much about that. But in general, even with those things, it's nothing that would be difficult to deal with if you did want to. I noticed the tone knob has a couple little tight spots on it. That happens with a lot of guitars. You know what I mean? Where you just got a spot or two where it drags a little bit when you're turning it. Volume knob, not so much. It had like one little tight spot at first where it felt like it was dragging, but then after turning it a couple times, that wore away, and now it works flawlessly, which I don't really use the tone knob that much. I know some people do. I don't. I just turn the tone up and leave it there. Really, I'd be fine with just a volume switch, and I'm fine with those guitars that just have the bridge pickup, since that's mostly what I use too. Although I do use the neck pickup on some of my guitars. Generally though, this thing is amazing, and yeah, I'm gonna demo it for you, play a little bit. I like the color. I like the nice dark electric blue. I like the shape. I like how it swoops in like this, you know? You can see it's not just your standard Strat shape. It's got like some contours to it. Bolt-on neck. It's got the belly cut. But the main thing is it sounds good and it plays good. And I mean, what else do you want, right? It sounds good, it plays good, that's all that matters. And even if you did get one with some blemishing on it, which this one doesn't have anything wrong with it. They could have sold this as new, to be honest with you. Even if you did get that, and I thought, yeah, if it has a blemish or something, big deal. I play my guitars. I'm going to blemish it. I'm going to scratch it. It's going to get bumped and dinged and dented anyway. I don't worry about B-stock stuff, especially for like blemishes, for imperfections in the finish. I'm going to do worse to it. It's not that I abuse my guitars, but I do play them. And most of us do. So let's get on here. I'll go through the clean channel. I'll start with the neck pickup and then both and then bridge. I'll work through them. You get the idea. All right, that gives you an idea. Clean channel stuff. Let's go over to something a little bit dirtier, and I'll go through the pickups again, starting with the neck again. Yeah, you get the idea, right? So let's just, you get the idea of the pickups. I'm just gonna put it on the bridge pickup and rock out, right? Okay, there's that, and I just want to put it up on like metal. Yeah, once again, bridge pickup, let's just do it. we go. That's a nice little demo of it. Gives you a pretty good idea. Obviously, there aren't any dead spots. Like I said, I could lower the action, but it plays fine as it is. Came through great, man. I'd say pick one of these up. If I had bought this for the full price, $380, if I had, I wouldn't be disappointed. It's an excellent guitar. I've paid that for guitars before, and yeah, this is about the quality you'd expect for that level of instrument. You know, anywhere up to about $450, $500, like that would be an acceptable price for this. $380 is actually a pretty decent deal for a guitar like this, and $125 is a ridiculous deal for it. It's got the string through too, right? I like that. I do like that. It's an awesome guitar. I'd say if they have any left at the budget prices, you know, that where they're just getting rid of them, get one. Even if it has a little bit of a problem, these are awesome guitars. These really are. I'm really glad I got it, and I'm really glad I got it at the price that I got it at. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and somebody did at some point a basic setup on it. The intonation is pretty decent. I don't know, I might fine tune it at some point, but it's close enough that I don't really notice anything wrong with it. The setup is close enough, I don't notice anything wrong with it, not when I'm playing it anyway. Like I said, if you're a real shredder, you might want it lower, but for me, this works just fine. It basically a solid middle of the road setup, you know what I mean? Something that will offend nobody. And I like it. It works for me. I like middle of the road setups because of some of the stuff I do. Sometimes I break out a slide, and if you have a real low setup, that's a little bit harder to do with that. So I like this, right? Like I said, this might be one that I do lower the action on, depending. I'll have to see how I feel about it later. It's got one of those bridges, like I forget what they're called. It's like you see on Les Pauls and Gibson models, which makes it a little bit of a pain in the ass to do the intonation, but easy to do to adjust the string height because the whole thing adjusts all together, right? Which, you know, I kind of like that. I like those saddles particularly, right? Those bridges. Yeah, what can I say, man? Anything that's wrong with this, you don't notice it when you're playing it. So grab you one while you can at that price, and if those are gone, go over to Diamond Guitars and this is worth the full price, honestly. $380 is cheap for something like this. That's still a budget guitar. I'm digging it, and I'm going to continue digging it. And yeah, I think I'm gonna play us out. Yeah, there we go.